Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We are in chapter 10. We are working through anger, and you guys are doing stellar. The questions that are coming in, beyond beautiful. Okay, let me go, and we're on chapter 10, page 253. We're almost done with this chapter. Is that a yay or a nay? I mean, we should be unhappy because we want to really, really nail this so that we can become the most awesome people we possibly can become. Okay, page 253, life is short. If, out of habit, you start down the silent treatment road, your best bet to overcoming this entirely negative interaction is to end it immediately. Don't wait to mull it over and plan what you're going to say in order to rectify whatever conflict or hurt caused you to go down this unfortunate path. This tactic will only prolong the agony, and you'll never get it perfect anyway. Just act. Often, a good baby step to end the silent treatment is to bring up an entirely different topic just to get the conversation started in a non-combative way. This lets your husband know that you are trying to invite him back into your life without bringing up the troublesome topic. Even mentioning the weather or asking a question about whether he thinks the milk is spoiled or not can end the silence in a second. We all want to be our best self. This is how we can do it. If it helps you to visualize the Shekhinah streaming into your house through the windows, awash with joy and gladness at your goodness, that might assist you to get over the hurdle of taking that first step. But the faster you get over this habit, the more you will reap the incredible joy of having a home that feels safe for everyone. There may be many complicating factors that keep this miserable pattern repeating itself in a relationship, and if so, they most likely must be worked out in a therapeutic setting. Anger usually results because someone is hurt, but we must learn more effective ways to cope with challenging emotions. But the first order of business is to recognize that if this is part of the routine in your marriage, meaning the silent treatment, you must get yourself motivated to do something about it. Rather than wondering who is to blame in this situation, just do whatever you can to educate yourself so you can work toward solving this problem. Life is too short, time is too precious, and the silent treatment can steal away your most treasured commodity, your spouse. For those of you who are beginning to realize that you really push your husband away with your anger, I implore you to go way beyond what we'll be covering here by reading this book or going to speak with someone. If you need to discuss these emotions with a trained therapist, rabbi, or rebbitzin, to be able to comprehend them fully, more power to you. It's hard to imagine anyone ever regretting the decision to learn how to feel closer to their loved ones. Quite a few of my students say that they aren't the ones with the anger management issues, their husbands are. I hear. But I have yet to meet anyone, myself included, that couldn't stand a little bit of tweaking in this area. And as you know from the rest of this book, waiting for our husband to change does not have a good track record. By growing ourselves in this way, we will gain eternal merit, be happier, and be proud of ourselves. Most importantly, our husbands will reap the benefits, helping them to have all the more reason to love and cherish us. 5 anger tools. There are 5 basic anger tools here to give you lots of ideas. Ideas of what to say, ideas of what to do, ideas of what to think, for introspection, and ideas for planning ahead. Some ideas will work for some people, some won't, and some might work one day and not another. There are plenty to choose from for gaining mastery over your own anger. Circle or write down the ones that seem to resonate with you, and then use the trial and error to hone down your basic anger management plan. Don't throw away an idea if it doesn't work the first time. It may work in the future, as it takes time to tweak your communication style and to learn what works with your husband. Just remember, every nanosecond that you spend working on this gains you eternal merit. Even if you try and keep failing, don't get discouraged. Your efforts pile up on a scale in the celestial spheres. Start by davening for Hashem to give you the right strategy at the right time to gain mastery over your anger. God willing, your efforts will have a profound impact on your marriage. Ideas of what to say. Number 1, ask a question. If you know you're about to say something mean out of anger, either leave the room or turn the situation around by asking a question such as, is it possible for you to see things from my perspective? Said angrily or sarcastically, this will put someone on the defensive. But when said with a kind-hearted and sincere tone, it will hopefully encourage their sympathy. Number 2, don't yell. The minute you raise your voice, the conversation is over. Nothing good and lasting ever comes from yelling, even if your spouse seems to be purposefully pushing your buttons to get a rise out of you, or even if he is yelling. Controlling yourself at such a time deserves all the more reward. There is a unique pride we feel in refraining from yelling, and even if he may not admit it, our husband will have newfound respect for us because of our restraint. Number 3, stay in the present. It is often so tempting to bring up every past offense your husband has committed, but it always backfires. He immediately gets on the defensive and you end up accomplishing nothing. When we feel wronged, we often blurt out, "You always do this or that." This only makes your current situation worse. Resist the urge to dredge up ancient history. Sticking to the here and now will allow you to solve your conflicts in real time. Number 4, resolve to solve. In the heat of a battle, when emotions are high, it is usually not the best time to solve a sticky problem. Ask kindly, "Can we solve this another time when I'm not feeling so stressed about it?" This works well as long as it is truly taken care of later in a calmer moment, rather than waiting to solve it in the midst of another conflict. Number 5, be extremely quick to apologize. Work on apologizing even when you don't feel like it, or even if you don't really mean it. Your heart will often follow your mind because it's most often the right thing to do. Apologizing is particularly admired and appreciated by our Maker, as Shalom is so very precious to him. Ideas of what to do. Number 1, slow down. Try not to jump to conclusions or act irrationally. When tempers flare, it is tempting to barrel forth like a bull in a china shop and lose ourselves in our emotions without considering the ramifications. Number 2, leave the room nicely. If you see that you're going to act out of anger, say something like, "I'm sorry, but I feel myself getting angry and I need to think for a bit. I'll be back when I've calmed down." How this is done makes all the difference as to whether your husband feels abandoned or taken care of. Number 3, use self-talk. Slowly repeat calming words or phrases such as "relax" or "take it easy" or "this too shall pass." This is you're talking to yourself, not to your husband. These will not work saying them to your husband. Okay. Mastering your ability to control yourself in this way will help you in all the interactions you have in your daily life. Number 4, don't get defensive. It's natural to get defensive if you are criticized, but don't fight back, since that just ups the ante. Going silent is a good way to get your husband to pause and consider what he has to say. Perhaps say, "I think I'm getting defensive here. Do you think maybe we can start the conversation over?" Number 5, practice good listening skills. When communication or misunderstandings become heated, that's your cue to tone things down and start listening. Ask questions that will help you see things from your husband's perspective. Woo! Okay. Gila, what you got for me? Let's get some good questions in here, ladies.
We already got them streaming in. Okay, so Daphne asks, "I tried your method of bringing up another topic instead of giving the silent treatment, but it always sounds so fake and so forced. He finds it humorous, which I know you'll say is good, but I find it so maddening. I hate the fakeness."
You mean she changes the subject in the midst of anger?
She tried changing to another topic instead of just ignoring or silent treatment.
So first of all, women never congratulate ourselves enough for the things we do. That is amazing. Daphne, what's her name? That's amazing. Amazing. You should we should all, standing ovation. Look what you did. You took the normal teva, the normal natural way things were going to unfold, and you turned it on its head. You created a miracle in yourself to be able to do that. And we don't congratulate ourselves enough. You really, really should deserve a kudos phone call and $1 million in chits in bricks in Shemayim, whatever. You deserve a lot for the work that you did, and I'm very proud of you. And now it needs tweaking and working, but you already took the most important step, which is the first one, which is the step to change and to be a better person. So let's look at this. He finds it fake. He finds it.
No, he finds it humorous. She finds it fake. And when he finds it humorous, she finds it maddening.
I would let him find it humorous. I don't know. That seems delicious to me.
Right. She said you would say that. She said, I know you say that this is good, but it's maddening. She's
Right.
been watching your show, Leah.
Yeah, there you go. Good girl. Thank you. Okay. All right. Look, I think you're better off letting him think it's funny and whatever, but you get mad when he does. So try different things. That's the only thing I can think of. Do trial and error. Try, leaving the room. Try, I need to, I'm so upset. I just need to write this down. Try asking him, what should I do when I'm angry and I want to let it out on you? And when you laugh at me changing the subject, it makes me more upset and I'm trying to calm myself down. You could brainstorm with your husband or just come up with yourself, get your journal out or something and just write, 20 different things you could do and then you're gonna have to do trial and error, and it might take you a week, it might take you months, more likely, take months. But one thing that I don't want you to lose sight of is how proud you should be for working on this. Really, I can't say it loudly or strongly enough. You should really feel proud on your efforts to do this, and instead of looking at the glass half full of, yeah, he's just laughing at me, look at it like it doesn't even matter so much. What matters is I have broken through a habit I've had for 11 years or whatever it is, and I've broken this for shalom bias in my home. And you can see the curtains of your window billowing as the Shekhinah comes pouring into your home to fill it with bracha. But bracha is parnasa and closeness and money, sorry, and that you're
Health, Shefa.
health, yeah, and that something that something was supposed to break and it didn't, and bracha is in every way you can look at it, spiritual bracha, emotional bracha, that your kid does well in school, all of the bracha will come pouring into your home for doing this, so you should feel very proud of yourself. Don't lose sight of that. Do the trial and error, but have in mind all the time how glad you are that you are able to work on this. It's gavaldic. Okay, go ahead. What's
Okay, great. Tahila asks, my husband and I both like to take space and not interact much after an argument. We don't feel that it's the silent treatment because we both like to do it. Is this unhealthy?
I mean, don't fix what ain't broke kind of thing. So I hear it. The only thing that I'm not sure if it's a dual silent treatment or if it's just airing your brain, which is perfectly fine. If there's still a closeness during it, then I would lean towards, yeah, it's fine. If if there's a distance from it, you ever like you're sitting in a room with somebody and you can be sitting, you're sitting on a recliner and they're sitting on the couch, right? And you can be there for 2 hours and it's almost like you're alone. And then there's other times you're with somebody and you say a few little sentences here and there. You're kind of with them, even though you're doing your own things. So we always want in our marriage to be, you want the space, but a level of togetherness. If you're getting up to get a cup of water, you say, would you like one also? There's a even in silence, if you're both sort of brooding or mulling or whatever in your own corners, as long as it's not neither of you guys is feeling badly, then I think it's fine. But if the minute somebody feels like a little bit shut out or a little bit lonely or a little bit like, then I think there needs to be more communication about it. But as a whole, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. It depends if people are getting hurt by now. If they're not, nobody's getting hurt and there's no damage being done and you still close afterwards, I think you're good to go.
Okay. Leela asks, my husband is the one with the temper, not me. What can I do in navigating a bad temper?
Okay, so there's a couple of things. One is there are many books and articles and, or people who know about it that you can go talk to. There's a lot of information about how to deal with people who are toxic or angry or, can't control themselves, have no mastery, self-mastery. So definitely you can make use of all of those different various resources that are available. But the number one way to keep somebody from blurting, from their anger erupting, is to have a better understanding of it and make sure you're not the trigger. If their anger is flaring up because you didn't set the table right, they've got a bigger issue than you can solve. If you are currently triggering them and saying, why didn't you do the laundry? Why didn't you said you would do that? If you're constantly battering them and putting them down and criticizing them and making demands of them and so forth, you have to look at also your own, is this a word, instigatability, in your how you instigate them. Are you part of the problem? And you really need to do some introspection to see that. If you are part of the problem, there's lots you can do to not do that. If you aren't part of the problem and they have anger issues, you might be trying to get them to see somebody who can help them learn how to master their anger better. That's often very difficult to do because they think you're the one with the problem, But in cases like that, it could be that you go to a therapist to how to deal with the anger, but also therapists are often trained on how to get husbands into the therapy as well, or the spouse into the therapy. So that might be your route to go. Again, you're going to just be doing a lot of trial and error to find what would work. But if you do have a spouse with anger issues that are uncontrollable and you can't have a good communication about it. And that communication would be something like, saying, I'm not sure what to do. I love you so much and you're my soulmate and whatever. But you sometimes, again, you're not saying this in the heat of a battle. He's well fed, you're well fed, both of you, well rested, and you're saying, I'm not sure what to do because I do feel that, there's a level of, some people don't get angry at all. Some people get angry a lot. There's a whole variance. And I feel like you're closer to this side and it makes it hard for me. And I'm trying to analyze what I might be doing that triggers you because, we're soulmates and, I might be playing into that. So I'm willing to look at that and to improve that. But anyways, the question I have for you is, what do you think might be a way we can make this a little bit better? Something like that. And it could be also, again, you're journaling and saying, here are some things that might work. And, but if you put attention to something, Hashem will help you and work on it with you. And you should daven that Hashem softens your husband's heart and that he is able to have breakthroughs in this area without too much agmas nefesh, suffering and pain on your part. And it might be a challenge, big challenge in your relationship. It is a big challenge in your relationship. So figuring out how to handle it is your new job. Okay, so best of luck to you. Hashem should bench you. Should go well. Okay, what else?
Okay, okay, so Devorah wants a little clarification about the silent treatment. So her question is, I'm a little confused about what the silent treatment is. I said something hurtful to my friend, and she said she wanted to take space from me to recover from the pain I caused her. It took her over a week to speak to me again. I thought this was a serious silent treatment, but was it not because she told me ahead of time that she was going to take space?
A good question. I think if she told you ahead of time that she needed to process it, I think it's a very mature thing. I think that, in a relationship, I mean, not in a marriage relationship, you can't take a week of not talking to somebody to see how it is. But, it depends. If she was your best friend and you talk to her 5 times a day, then that's a little bit the silent treatment. If she was just a casual friend and you talked to her, every few days you got together, you schmoozed about this or that, or you went walking together or something, or you caught up with each other on recipes, whatever it is, then that seems appropriate. So it kind of a little depends on what kind of relationship you have with her. Certainly her mentioning to you is very mature and very helpful. And I think that should be taken into account. I think that that's not ideal. I mean, it would be the thing that's making me think it's not ideal is a week. A week can be hurtful or painful. In other words, again, if she's a close friend of yours and she's gone for a week, that's painful. Then I would have a conversation with her and say, look, I get that you need time to process or whatever, but a week feels punishing, punitive to me. So that's one thing. With your husband, let's get that. That's really what we work on our relationship with our husband, because that's kind of the crucible, the sort of the center of where we are in our life, and then then everybody else is satellites, but we're the soulmate, like sort of at the heart of everything, and so if you work on that, the other things will kind of solve themselves much better, if you use that as your kind of your playground to self-mastery. I like that. Ooh, we had playground to self-mastery. That's like the title of a book. But anyway, like I would compliment myself. See, I told you we don't pat ourselves on the back enough. Is that the show, or I said that last show? I can't even remember. Anyway, okay, I'm babbling. Did you notice? Anyway, okay. So the point is that for your situation with your husband is it can't go a week. If you were to say to your husband, I need some time to process this, you're like giving him an hour, or if it's late at night, whatever, I need to process this. Let's talk about it in the morning. Or let's tomorrow when you get home or something like that. But a week is way too long. So that's how I would handle it with your husband and your friend. Again, it depends on how close she is to you. Good questions, guys. Okay, go ahead, Gila.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Suri says, I find that if I'm not expressing myself in the moment, the desire to discuss it fades so much that I don't need to discuss it at all. Is this good, or is it considered bottling things up?
It depends. If you say bring it to later and then you have no emotional charge at all. I'm talking zero emotional charge, or low, under 20 emotional charge out of 100. Then that's great. Let it go. That's not bottling it up. But if you don't feel the urgency to speak about it, but then every time you think about it, you get annoyed, and then he does something similar, and then it builds, and then that's called bottling it up. Okay. So it depends on the extent of how much it bothers you after the thing. It's a great question. And, we want to be the kind of person that a lot of annoying stuff just kind of goes away. You know what I'm saying? That we just let go, like water off a duck's back. And also to be the kind of person that when something really does bother us, that we handle it and confront the situation without making people feel bad or defensive, or making our husband feel like he's a jerk, or he's, that we're criticizing him and nagging him and bonking him and putting him down. None of that. It's okay. Here's an issue that needs to be handled. So how we handle it makes all the difference in the world. Very good. Okay. What you got, Keela?
Okay. Shifra Leah asks, after being married for 40 years, our relationship is non-existent. Everything my husband says makes me angry. Working on one small thing seems irrelevant compared to the magnitude of the problem. Where do I start? You just want to take a deep breath.
I know, but therapy, like, has she gone to therapy? If you're still listening, please type in. Have you tried therapy? I mean, that's just the saddest thing. I mean, God didn't put you on the earth to be alone in a marriage. He put you on the earth to take care of your husband, for him to take care of you. If that's not happening, you need a therapist. Maybe read Marriage Secrets. Maybe read it and indelibilize it.
Indelibly? Is that a word?
Put it in your heart. Really take it to heart. Yeah, and I can push this all I want, because Marriage Secrets, because all the royalties, all my royalties go for donation to marriage education. So, but I'm just sad that gosh. Yeah, you need to go speak with somebody. And if your husband won't go with you, go yourself, and hopefully hope the therapist can either walk you through your own emotions, but also, figure out a way how to get your husband into therapy with you. It's crucial. Good luck. Hashem should bench you.
Okay. Yeah. Yael asks, often my husband's reaction to me telling him that I'm upset just makes me more upset, because he never seems to truly understand how and why I feel what I do. How can my husband learn to understand me more? I know this is the root of a lot of our issues.
I didn't understand the first part then. It seems like two different questions. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. She's saying that when she tells her husband she's upset, it ends up backfiring because he doesn't get the magnitude of how upset she is or how to deal with it. And then she's like, why was I even vulnerable telling him that I'm upset?
So I don't know. There'll be too many questions I'd had to ask you to sort of flush it out. But, if you're asking him, how you're expressing what you need from him, or what's upsetting you, or him he's not understanding you, he's not getting you, whatever. It could be that he's got a block, or he, has he doesn't, have emotional maturity or emotional understanding to, there's IQ, intelligent quotient, and then EQ is emotional quotient or whatever. So maybe he has a low EQ, could possibly be, or more likely, or you could be expressing yourself that it had hidden daggers in it, like, well, if you ever did that, then blah blah blah, whatever. Like you're poisoning as you're going out. You're like explaining the issue, but really you're just stabbing. You're just taking a knife and stabbing, and blood, blood, blood. I'm sorry for being so gross, but if I feel like if somebody does that, and I'm not saying you are necessarily doing that, but I'm saying if somebody does that, they need to know that they're doing that. The only way to staunch the bleeding and to take care of their loved one, their husband, the only way to do that is by understanding that they are doing that. So if it's true that you don't have good communication abilities and you're pushing him away and you're putting him on the defensive, then there's a lot, good news, there's a lot you can do to become a better communicator, to feel what you feel and to express it in a way that he can hear it. If it's a fact that he, and there's whole chapters on communication, or go anywhere, read any article, Google it, communication, and how to get over a conflict, how to express a conflict so that a person doesn't get defensive is very, very important. If it's that he has a lot of dysfunction around being able to see your point of view, that's a whole other story. And then, it could be there's exercises or lessons that he could do. You might be able to get from a rabbi or rebbitzin things he can do to practice, or you can read together how to communicate, and read together that book. If you did that, then that could improve it. But if it's really deep-seated problems, it needs some kind of a therapy session, a third party, somebody in there, so that you can both learn how to communicate during conflicts, during good times, bad times. There's different things that are called for different times. Very, very good question, and I wish you luck with it, because it's very hard to feel like you're like this. Okay, good. Do we have time for another question?
Yeah, one more question we have time for.
Okay.
And okay, it's from Dahlia. She says, I took on to apologize more, but when I do, my husband.
Can you say it again?
I took on to apologize more. She decided that she's going to be the apologizer.
Good. Listen to last.
But when I do, yeah, right. But when I do, my husband says that there's no point of apologizing if I don't mean it. At least I'm taking a step towards him and trying. How do I get him to see it that way?
Tell him it's sources for it. Tell him that's our Masorah, that it's got a 3,000-year-old track record, that our sages teach that you apologize whether you feel it or not, and that that should override and for harmony over the situation, and that the other part that they say is that if you apologize and you don't mean it, it's kind of like if you're doing a mitzvah, for the wrong reasons, it's still, you're giving tzedakah because you want everyone to think you're such a nice person, that you give charity everywhere, you're doing it really for the wrong reason, but it still counts as an awesome thing to do. So there should be no question in your husband's mind that you're apologizing, whether you feel it or not. How does he know what you feel anyway? And if you say to him, I'm apologizing because it's the right thing to do, and my emotions will catch up with it. Don't worry. That's what our Chazal tell us. So if she uses sources, I think that'll mean a lot to him. And
I'm wondering if it's a repeated offense, and maybe that's why he feels that way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's right. And so in that case, if you keep doing it and you keep apologizing without say, I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. Neither is you. Neither is anybody. I'm working on it. So please accept this apology, because even though it's hard for me to do, and I may not be 100% there, I'm asking you just to accept my apology, and I'm working harder with the more I do this, the more intentionality I have, the higher chance that I'm not going to do it again like that. That's all you can ask for. Okay. All right. Wow. You guys asked amazing questions. Really, really great today. Let me give you your homework. Your homework is one time this week. Hmm. When you are really, really feeling like you can't communicate with your husband, about an issue, anger, something's going on with you, and you just feel like he's not understanding, and your buttons are pushed and you're triggering each other and whatever. One time when that happens, verbalize that to your husband. Say, I don't know what's going on here. I sort of feel like we aren't connecting. Maybe it's my fault, maybe it's your fault. Can we just start again? And just use the start again tool, which is very, very effective. And then just start communicating, but acknowledge what is broken. If you can see it, say we're just kind of like on different page. Maybe we didn't get enough sleep last night. Maybe we're not well fed. I don't know, but somehow I feel like we're not connecting. Can we start again? So that's one time this week you're doing that. Okay, this is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next show. If you want more, we have so much more. If you want to learn our Masora and have an awesome marriage, the first thing we have is a coaching program. If you are awesome with people and you want to know the Masora better than 99% of the people on the planet Earth, like for reals, okay? It's a 4-month program. It's very intense. We have major scholarships, and we have somebody who's granted in a lot to pay for a big bulk of it. It's still a little expensive, but for what you get, and then you can start charging money to know it. That's the coaching program. Don't miss it. Go to www.ladiestalkshow.com. We do retreats. We do all kinds of stuff. You'll find it there. www.ladiestalkshow.com. Thanks for being with us. Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show.